to be a Liverpool fan. 2 games, 2 really positive results, and I want to get into the actual performance itself. Welcome back to Lawrence McKenna channel. It's good to have you guys. If you've not already hit the subscribe button, hit it down there. I am regularly uploading to the point where regular means daily. So if you want that, hit subscribe down there, or if not, you can just dip in. Let's talk a little bit about the good things first for Liverpool, because there are plenty of positives within this side, and I've been trying to talk about the positives, see the positives all season. You've got to look what Liverpool are building towards, and I do think there is something they are building towards. We'll talk about whether that is a cohesive vision later in the video. Now, the front line, fantastic, right? Like, I'm really enjoying seeing how that front 3 are gelling together. I'm really enjoying watching Mo Salah get way more involved in games, especially now that he's got a much better relationship with the likes of Nunez, but also with the likes of Cody Gakpo in the first place. But how that front line kind of hooks up, how much danger and how they pull the back line of the other teams apart is quite satisfying to watch. That you also see them taking up really intelligent positions, you see them constantly interchanging, and when you've got Gakpo through the middle, Nunez out on the left, who's pacey, really dangerous, and then Mo Salah out on the right, cutting in, but also giving Liverpool lots of width with the Trent and Hendo combination as well, you start to see what Liverpool are trying to build towards. But this is also a transitional season. So whilst we're seeing all these positives, this is just the beginning. This is like when the seed is first planted and you see the shoot like right there. On top of that, I'm really enjoying the fact that Nunez went through the middle, took it down on his chest and did the thing that he normally does, which is just to fire like a shot that just completely surprises the goalkeeper. You'd have expected him to chest it down. He didn't handball it, by the way. And then sort of slot it past the goalkeeper like any other striker would do. Nunez elects to blast it just sort of low and just past the goalkeeper, which, sure, I totally get it. And then the second goal from Gakpo, really great again. Liverpool using the offside, or at least them trying to play offside, and that mass of space in the middle to take the Newcastle backline by surprise. Dare I mention it, a slightly Mane-esque goal? Slightly? Just slightly. You know what I mean? Like, Liverpool used to have a little dink thing. It would be Mane that would be on the other end of it. Little chest and finish like that. Maybe there's been some reel he's been watching or something, some tape in the back of where someone was like, hey, I think you could do this. And you can do some other stuff too. Like, for instance, hooking up the front line quite nicely. Gakpo seems to be doing that quite a lot more recently. And he's been providing ball after ball after ball out towards Mo Salah. And then, of course, on the other side, Nunez is just stretching the play and doing some pretty crazy things. Even then, you can see that there are times where Liverpool aren't quite sure what Nunez is going to do. There was a time where Salah was running through the middle with the ball. Nunez goes, I'll just run the same path. Fair enough. But, like, Mo Salah's mature enough within the game to kind of go, you know what, you're young. It's like when, no, because Timon and Pumbaa weren't exactly... If you've got an older brother, then you'll know what it's like. Like, sometimes they just look at them and go, that was a stupid thing, but I love you. And you've got to take in what Nunez is doing and kind of appreciate it for what it is. Because, you know, there was all that criticism earlier on in the season. You can see every time he scores a goal what it means to him. I love that. Hate that he got the little shoulder thing. I think Trippier deliberately wiped him out. And that kind of thing was something that I've actually seen pretty consistently. Can I talk for a second about Newcastle? Newcastle had some great passing combinations, opened Liverpool up time after time after time, but they're also becoming, they're hard to play, but they're also a nasty side to play. You could see towards the end they were trying to leave feet in. There were a couple of times where they were deliberately trying to wipe certain players out, and that is a very much an Eddie Howe factor. We've not really Eddie Howe presents as a lovely sort of calm guy, but he definitely sends his teams out there to be awkward and nasty to play against. And because of his demeanour, his sides kind of get away with it. Because it's like, well, Eddie wouldn't do that. But there are plenty of players within that team who got very, very frustrated. And then, of course, there's Mo Salah. Mo Salah, really good in the derby against Everton, even though Everton were a side who left him acres of space in the first place. And that was kind of what I thought. When I analysed it after the game, obviously I didn't analyse it well because I was in the stadium. I was sort of like taken by the game. But afterwards, I looked at it and I was like, yeah, like, they let him a lot of space, but Mo Salah was also good in this game. Like, Mo Salah was getting back towards what it was he wanted to do, and he did that more against Newcastle again. So, again, more positives. What people aren't going to acknowledge is the sending off of Pope was down to that Mo Salah classic Liverpool run over the top that Alisson loves putting that ball in. And Pope has just got caught in no man's land. You challenge your goalkeeper to come out like that. You have quite a flat ball, which is meant to be easy to control. Goalkeepers panic when they're out in no man's land, and if they've got against a pacey striker like Mo Salah, and he did what I guess you would hate if you're a goalkeeper coach or if you're an outfield player, but he didn't have any other option. Like, if he'd have let that ball drift away from him, Mo Salah takes it, he's through on goal, boom, what do you do then? 3-0 Liverpool. Would you rather keep the goalkeeper on, keep 11 men? Probably. But hey, they brought on Dubravka, and, Dubravka actually had a better game than I think Nick Pope did in the first place. So, there's that as well. Then, obviously, Liverpool's backline was opened up numerous times. And I mean, like, numerous times. It's good to see Virgil van Dijk back. Obviously, it's fantastic. But even Jamie Carragher was saying it in the commentary, and I've been saying it for a while now. Liverpool are reliant upon Alisson having a good game too often. And very often he comes out with some incredible saves. Saves which are semi-fortunate, but also obviously of his own creating. He's diving out, putting his body, he's huge. He closes the play down really quick, really, really well. And I really enjoy watching him. Like, you can tell what an intelligent goalkeeper he is, how he's great at closing space, how he's his recoveries are about closing the space down, but also just how big he is. I think he's a really imposing presence in the box for Liverpool. He's not really a stylish save goalkeeper who's like, I need to reach out and do something crazy. He's much more of a goalkeeper of like, I've got this. I'm not going to do anything mad. I'm just going to put my hands up, get the ball. And he tries to catch it there as much as possible. Love that as well, because I think that's super demoralizing to any opposition striker. They're just like, oh, he just caught my rasping shot. And then obviously, last few games have been Matip and Gomez. Great to see Virgil van Dijk back. But I always feel when Van Dijk is in the side at the moment, like there is one other person that people try to hang out to dry. Isaac early on was just going at Van Dijk and Gomez over and over and over again. And credit to him, that was probably exactly what he was briefed to do and exactly what you would want from someone like Isaac. But at the same time, I feel like Liverpool, when they get Konate back or when they can get a consistent backline partnership, they will get better. Similar to when Liverpool had Gomez and Van Dijk. I'm not saying Gomez would be my first choice. Obviously, Konate for me. But I feel like Gomez is, after his really horrendous performances earlier this season. And I'm sure he would admit that himself. I don't think it's unfair to say that against Napoli, he just had a really horrendous night. That's not necessarily his fault. I think a few times he was hung out to dry, but there were a few lapses in concentration which made Liverpool pay. And I guess that's the frustration. Like, Liverpool as a side need to be remaining within touching distance. There have been times this season where they haven't done because of lapses in concentration, silly conceding of a goal. And it's just not what you need. Like, when I say it's just not what you need, of course it's not what you need, but like, it's also unnecessary. I said this earlier this season, Liverpool's performances felt unnecessary. There were times where the players were clearly frustrated. I don't know. There are times where little bits of frustration come through, but you can clearly see there is a much more clear MO out there for the likes of Henderson and also by Ketic on the other side. And Fabinho, as much as I think people just keep mentioning over and over and over again, hey, he's not had a great season. There are actually times where I really think Fabinho has been great he's been good in this midfield. He's broken up the play really nicely, distributed it really quickly, and more recently has not been trying to do some of the things that were getting him in trouble. He was really unlucky to get it. Well, it's unlucky to get a yellow card early on, but he deserved it. And it kind of inhibited him for the rest of the game. He was only really making standing tackles and sort of not really doing full-on Fabinho things, but he got an early card, and I'd imagine that was also something that the opposition players had briefed on to try and get someone like Fabinho a card early on, and that inhibits him. But I like his combination with the other players. Without a Thiago on the field, I was really worried Liverpool would fall apart, but they seem to go a bit more direct. Bajcetic has got a lovely drop of the shoulder and a turn. This was the first game where I kind of thought that he looked a little bit lost in that against the Newcastle midfield with the physicality, but he has these touches of class, really simple passes. There's a few times he basically just got bullied off the ball, and I thought, okay, that'll change in time, when you've got your physicality. But I look at him and I think, I never feel like I don't want him in the midfield, which is obviously fantastic. And then Hendo on the other side has been doing much better. I think he's been integrating and giving Liverpool that width when Trent Alexander-Arnold drops inside and Mo Salah is either wide or just inside. He's always taking up that triangle third position. And you can see it makes Trent Alexander-Arnold and Mo Salah much, much more comfortable. So I'm also enjoying that. On top of that, Liverpool finished their game against 10 men, so I felt like they really dominated later on. Obviously, you dominate against 10 men, so let's not take that as anything. But they did the same against Everton, where they got their goals and then really slowed the play down. Just were a bit more deliberate about the way they were passing the ball around. And I've got to admit, they talk about Liverpool being intense and all these things. It's great to see Liverpool getting in control of a game. And even when there are little moments where they should be shook, they're just kind of riding those out more recently. Now, I do think better sides will find Liverpool out. There are moments where Liverpool have more, I don't need to use it, where Liverpool have more challenges against them because there will be a higher, in fact, like a higher caliber of player on the field and someone who's going to just be more clinical than maybe an Everton or a Newcastle have been in these last two games. But for now, ride that. Take that there's 6 points between Liverpool and fourth right now, that they could, with a decent little run, put themselves back on the map in the Premier League, boost their confidence again, try and finish the season strong. And you've got to question what I think Jurgen Klopp has done really, really well to stay in the position with the amount of people beginning to call for his head. I'm not saying that he should have been sacked. I'm just saying, in order to steer a ship through this kind of time, you have to give him some credit when he begins to make some good performances for Liverpool, and Liverpool begin to look a little more Liverpool-y, even though they don't look fully Liverpool. You've got to give him some credit, and the same for Pep Lingers as well. Clearly, there has been some sort of come to Jesus moment, some sort of come to, insert your religious guy here, but where the team have sort of gone, okay, I understand where we're going with this. I can kind of see where it's going. I think it's probably also down to having some more experienced players and a bit more confidence in training as well. Firmino coming back, Jota coming back, Hendo being more fit more regularly, and Virgil van Dijk coming back into the team is obviously a huge boost. And that's it. Liverpool finished the game with a more classic side than they would have in the past. Obviously, they subbed by Stitch off, took Nunez off, took Kakpo off. That brought on James Milner. Fabinho was still there. The back line was pretty consistent. And then up front, obviously, they had Salah with Firmino through the middle and Jota out. So he was sort of wondering, but he was definitely on the left. So they finished with a much more kind of classic Liverpool look, if you like. In fact, I think it was all classic Liverpool looking. Yeah, I can't think of a player that wouldn't have started in a previous season there. Maybe Harvey Elliott, maybe. Yeah, I think Harvey Elliott came on, so maybe that's a bit less classic, but And then on top of that, it was great to see Firmino dropping deep. He looked really confident, great feet, really nice to see him kind of coming on. And when you're 2-0 up, you want Firmino on the field. When you're 2-0 down, you hate having Firmino on the field. He made some really bad decisions, but also if he's high up the field or if he's tackling you and winning the ball back, which he did, he's really awkward to get the ball off. He's really annoying to play against. He's really strong, deceptively strong. And, it's just kind of not pleasant to play against. Jota was the same. And towards the end, against the 10 men, Liverpool just opening Newcastle up at ease. And at ease or with ease? At ease would be when a soldier stands and sort of goes, whereas with ease would be what I actually meant. So you saw Salah, Jota, and Firmino kind of hooking up, but also other players really looking to get in from the midfield and the fullbacks. You saw Trent bombing on. You saw Andy Robertson bombing on as well. He had another good game. I thought he bombed on really nicely. I thought he was really attacking, really offensive, pinned some of their guys back. And I hate to say it, but I actually enjoy watching Liverpool again. I kind of love to say it, but I hate to say it as well because I get the feeling that I'm setting myself up for a fall. There's the Real Madrid game on Tuesday. Not sure how I feel about that. Was thinking about maybe live streaming it on this channel. I don't know. I'm just saying, should I live stream on this channel? Is it worth it? But yeah, overall positives, but Liverpool, there has been some moments, I think, where the players have been really frustrated with the changes that have been going on this season, and I think those have been down to Klopp and Pep Lingers. And I get there has probably been some unrest. There have been players who were recovering from long seasons. You can't say that this will have helped their recovery. Probably a lot of stress and anxiety in the side as well. So that's good that they look a bit more confident. I think that lack of confidence probably came from a big shift at Liverpool. You saw. And I'll kind of cite this as well. In the previous seasons, Liverpool started to play that much higher back line and they started to get caught out a lot more. People questioning Virgil van Dijk and Gomez and Matip and all these different players, even Trent. A few players have been kind of hung out to dry in this new system, including Trent, including Van Dijk, including Fabinho. Players who were so key to making the system work, and now they're popping it around. Now there's more confident passing. Let's see if Liverpool can kind of continue that and, build like we've seen other teams build this season, like an Arsenal. I'm not saying they're as good as Arsenal, but like an Arsenal, like these kinds of players. I'd be interested to see what you guys think of how you build momentum in a season. And, let me know what your thoughts are on the performance below. There were some negatives. I do think Liverpool gave the ball away a few too many times. There were a few times where I thought they looked a little shaky. And obviously they hit the bar. They also had some decent shots. But overall, I actually think they did pretty well with that rotating front line of Newcastle. I'd love to talk about Newcastle in another video. I thought they were good. I thought their front line and the rotation of Maximan, Almiron, all those guys worked really nicely for them, especially against Liverpool's fullbacks. But Liverpool actually did Newcastle. And really, they deaded the game quite early on. And they deaded it by scoring 2 and then putting Mo Salah through and making one of their players make a decision. And that is part of how Liverpool play. Let's not act like that was just down to Nick Pope. Liverpool put Newcastle under the cosh, even though early on, actually, Newcastle created some chances and Liverpool looked quite open. In the end, Liverpool worked their way into the game, played their way into the game, and they were the better side in the end. Newcastle were not a better team than Liverpool. Liverpool dominated the possession, obviously, like you should against 10 men. And actually had a pretty professional performance. So I'd be interested to know what you guys think. By no means is this full-blown Liverpool, so to speak. It is a Liverpool side that's still developing, but it's kind of exciting that you can win a game even when a side's developing, and you see so many little, they could improve there, they could improve there. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll see you in a bit. Much love. Bye.